And I want to start with Tania Wallace, who claims she's been at a freak-off and said she saw children, and it was hard for her to say it.
It was very hard for her to say it, Ashley. So what she said was she was flown out from LA to Miami by the Saudi prince. They ended up on Star Island at one of Diddy's parties. She says happened in 2018. She says she walked into the house and there was a cluster of adults around what she described as little people dressed up as Japanese Barbies. So she explained that they were just clustered around these little people. And I kept pushing her. And she eventually said, look, they are little people who should not be at an adult party. And I pushed her, and it was apparent what she was saying is they were minors. Now, she didn't see anything specific that was going on with them other than that adults were kind of huddled around them. But she told just a wild story about what was going on at the house, even at 7 a.m, that this thing apparently raged all night long.
You know, it's amazing. TMZ always gets such great scoops, and this one might be one of your best as well. You got a hold of one of the freak-off tapes. Your producers have seen it. The description is, and I'll quote, "It's porn directed by Diddy himself." And a male sex worker really sort of walks through what happened in the experiences that he had. They didn't sound illegal, but they sure seem to comport with a lot of the other stories that have been told.
Yeah. So this was a threesome. What you would ask me about earlier about Tania Wallace, she said there were more than 100 people at that party, including at least 4 celebrities. But what you're talking about now, was a threesome, and that's something that the U.S. attorney even referenced. And his lawyer in an earlier documentary we did, he was describing threesomes. He says it was all consensual. So yes, what we're told is that this male sex worker was flown out to various locations over a couple of years: Miami, New York, Los Angeles, and one other. And they would meet in hotel rooms, and Diddy would often watch as he would have sex with this woman who was associated with Diddy. So that seems to be what the feds are looking at right now in terms of alleged sex trafficking, if they are transporting somebody and perhaps paying them to cross state lines. That could end up being part of sex trafficking. Now, we know that this guy got a subpoena, and he ended up not testifying before the grand jury, but talking to prosecutors, and we're told that he left that tape with them.
And in fact, if he was transported, if he was even consensual in that setup, you're right, that is sex trafficking. It's classic federal crime to cross state lines for the purpose of selling sex. But it also comports just with the description of many of the other incidents that did sound illegal, where there was, you know, heavy intoxication involved in some of these incidents, but the setup sounded very similar. There was something else that was so revealing in your interviewing with 2 friends of Diddy's who seemed very defensive of Diddy. Stevie J, a producer and a friend, and Ray J, an entertainer and a friend of Diddy. No matter how many times you ask the question, both of them seemed to deflect. I never took part in any of it, and yet they were so close to him, and seemed to suggest that people, famous people, are paying off victims to keep their names out of the Diddy story.
Well, Ray J as much as said that to me, that he said that there were celebrities confiding in him that they were either approached by either the man, woman, or their lawyer, or they actually went to the person themselves and offered money for silence. That's what Ray J is saying. Now, I will say that we interviewed Tony Busby as well. He is the Houston lawyer who is representing more than 120 alleged victims. And he told me that, yes, they have sent demand letters out to various other people, high-profile people, and it's essentially an ultimatum: either pay up or we're going to sue.